What's one thing your family will never understand about you? I have 3 siblings who are all at least 10 years older than me. They don't understand that the mother I grew up with isn't the mother they grew up with. They remember a mother who was always at home when they finished school, who was there for every sports day, every school play, who was there when they had children of their own and needed advice. I remember a mother who left me repeatedly, who left for the final time when I was 11 and could only spare 3 hours a week to visit, despite not working and living 15 minutes away, who didn't care about anything I did at school, how much I struggled being abandoned, or how difficult she made life for me and dad by contributing absolutely nothing financially. She died years ago, and we can't ever mourn or reminisce together, because I can't bear to hear them talk about this amazing woman they all miss when all I want to do is tell them how selfish she was, and I wouldn't have spoken to her for the past 20 years, even if she was still with us. That the reason I have found success, both personal and financial, in life, is because I watched them for years and do the exact opposite. Bad part is that they seem to reward and normalize bad decisions. That I've literally never done anything that they've accused me of over the years, and now they don't understand why I don't like to be around them. Being the family scapegoat is a pain in the butt. It makes me sad. That I sometimes don't feel like doing certain hobbies, for example reading, which I absolutely love, for a couple of months. That doesn't mean that I'm becoming dumb or anything. I just want to do other things. And no, I'm not obsessed with video games, and I can play a lot for a couple of months, but I'll get bored and go back to my old hobbies. It's a circle of alternating hobbies, and in the end, I spend more or less the same time with each hobby. Now please shut up and let me play Minecraft, or read, or play bass for 5h straight. That I have young onset Parkinson's disease. They don't get that I can't write or balance things despite scans and specialists. They think I am too young, 36 meters. They keep telling me to breathe and it'll all be fixed. I swear if one more person tells me to breathe through tremors and falls, I may tell them that they should have been a blowjob. After 3 years, I went home to visit for 10 days and quickly realized 10 days, as much as I love them all, was way too long. I am, in fact, a fully grown 35-year man with a serious job who can take care of himself. I'm not the same 24-year-old who left a decade ago, and even though intellectually they know this, it doesn't alter their behavior toward me whatsoever. I had to actually explain to my father, you don't know what I do on a daily basis in my job, so how can you assume your opinion on whether or not I'm indispensable there means anything? You literally don't know what it is that I do. That seemed to sort of get the point across, I think. I don't know, because I didn't push it any further. That I'm not always as quiet and boring as I am when I'm around them. It's just that they're so judgy and hateful of everyone, and it makes me uncomfortable, so I don't behave the same around them as I do with my friends, etc. That I'm truly not religious, like, not at all, and it isn't because I'm angry at God or whatever. I just don't rationally think it's likely there is a deity of any kind, and even if there is, I'm quite sure that none of the major world religions have anything right about it. Being far-right evangelical conservatives bordering on fundamentalists, they are completely unable to begin to comprehend this or have any rational discussion. Kinda depressing, but just how painful the ringing in my ears are. Back in 2015, my dad called me and said his ears were making funny noises after he used the nail gun. He ended up going to the doctor and found out he was experiencing extreme tinnitus, brought on by the sound of the gun. The doctor told him it should wear off, but days turned to weeks, turned to months. Decades of going to loud concerts and doing lots of loud construction had finally caught up with my dad's hearing. For the longest time, it was all my dad would ever talk about. Whenever I came over to visit or spoke with him over the phone, I'd have to sit through hours of him complaining about the constant ringing and crackling in his ears. Honestly, my sister and I were getting a little annoyed with it, and we even started to joke about it. Then, about a year after it had happened, my dad confided in me that he was suicidal due to his ears. I could hear it in his voice that he legitimately wanted to die. Took until that moment for me to understand how awful the condition is for those who have it. Fortunately, my dad has since then learned to live with it and is living his best life. But I really feel sorry for him. Since this has happened, I stopped listening to loud music and have basically sworn off playing the drums. That I do not want children. I feel this. Now at 32 I rarely get the "you'll change your mind when you're older" and now I hear, "but who will care for you when you're old," which is laughable. Because there is no way in hell I'm caring for my parents. They are going to the first state-run nursing home I can find. That I prefer solitude. They just don't understand why I don't want to talk to them all the time, why I don't want to be around them all the time, etc. It has nothing to do with them most of the time. It's just that I like my own solitude. I like being able to be by myself, do whatever I want, when I want. It's all about peace. I want my environment to be as drama-free, as quiet or loud as I want. You add more people into that, and that peace is disturbed. Doesn't help that I think I have processing issues. Too much stimuli at once tends to make me exceptionally anxious. I have PTSD from another family member. Whenever that person is over, I don't want to speak or interact with them. I don't want to make up with them, because they don't see their bad behavior as wrong. If they were mean, it was because they were angry, and if they were emotional, it was justified. As if they are some sort of infallible person. They are mental. I don't talk to them anymore. The rest of my family either doesn't get that, or is desperately trying to prevent my relationship with siblings from turning into their relationships with their siblings. Telling me what's wrong with me isn't gonna magically fix it. Like, damn, I know I'm a lazy piece of crap. You don't need to point it out to me every time I see you. You're just giving me more of a reason not to interact with you, which you will then hold against me for alienating myself from my family. Plus, you're not gonna be able to fix my problems for me. That's my job. Worry about yourself. That, and if you're gonna ignore my problems and treat me badly, don't expect me to care much about your problems or enjoy spending time with you. Vertical bar. Oh man, I didn't even realize how badly I needed to be asked this question. 1. That I love them, but that doesn't mean I want to constantly hang out with them. My family's version of family time is all staying in the same house together and all doing the exact same activity together. Like, we can't even all be in the same house, but have two groups doing two different activities, because that would mean we are not together. Honestly, I have like 5 other examples from this week alone of all the ways they don't understand me. But you aren't all here to listen to me rant. I'd like to sound edgy and say everything, but I think they've always made assumptions about how I am and never bothered to track it to the actual behaviors I show. I think they perceive me as a lazy, nerdy person who would make a good uni professor. I think I've demonstrated I'm hardworking, fairly physical and not overly cerebral. I'm someone who kinda thrives in immediacy and practicality and isn't really a navel gazer anymore. I mean, you can have element of many traits, but I don't think how they'd describe me is the same as how a coworker would. That I don't need nor want their approval of the things that I do with my life. My family is really big on trying to tell me what I should and should not be doing. Oh, you moved out of country, you should be home with family. Oh, the bloke you are dating is too old/fat. Oh, the woman you are dating is too old/fat. Yes, I have had relations with both. Oh, you shouldn't get tattoos. They are awful. My mother, I'm the youngest child of 7, and I'm now 52. The only person that really didn't do this sort of thing was my second oldest sister, that passed from an aneurysm about a decade ago. She was the only person in my family to ever meet my wife. She was always the you do you sort of person. My family is horribly judgmental, and for some reason they expect you to stay in that cesspit of narcissism and control because it's family. I do my own thing and turns out I'm the most successful one in the family. Been married 20 years, have a pretty nice life, and yet somehow I'm still doing things wrong. I come from a very loud, entertaining, and big Italian family. Everyone can talk non-stop and is super outgoing. Me, on the other hand, am quite reserved and have always been someone who would rather listen than talk for my whole life. Everyone asks, how are you so quiet being in your family? I'm by no means shy. I'm just more of a calm and relaxed guy. For a while, I thought something was wrong with me because I wasn't as outgoing as everyone else. However, I now understand it's just who I am. I take pride in my patience and ability to truly listen to people. I have always been the guy people put their trust in and can go to with anything on their mind. I now know it's not a problem I have, it's a gift. If anyone else is like this, know that there is nothing wrong with you and that it's what makes you special. My parents didn't finish their high school. I grew up wanting to be a scientist. Fast forward to my bachelor and master's period, they wouldn't understand how I can dedicate so much time to study a single topic. The idea of someone sacrificing family reunions or party nights, or just sacrifice sleep, is so complicated for them to understand, and sometimes came to them as a mean action. Plus, being an atheist, it's very complicated to find motivation in these conditions. You come to face a lot of doubt. Maybe I'm actually wrong. Is it worth it to sacrifice this much for one single dream? I said to myself. Nowadays, I'm doing my PhD outside my country and very happy with my past decisions. Not all of my family do, but some think it's very weird and a bad thing that I'm prioritizing travel and seeing the world while I'm young. Ash left the US for the first time at 19. I'm 28 now and have been to 44 countries and 38 US states. I've worked really hard, saved up, then traveled. Have done that 2 times now. Currently working hard again in preparation for my next trip. They all tell me to work now and travel when I'm retired. In the year before COVID, I backpacked Asia, rode a motorcycle through 14 European countries, and lived out of a van in New Zealand. I don't think I'd enjoy those things as much when I'm 65. I relate to this so much. Ironically, it was my mom who inspired me to see the world and wait till I'm at least 30 to get married, and I have been doing exactly that. Been with my partner for 10 years, getting married this year at 32. We have incredible careers that allows us to have flexible work schedules so we can work remotely to travel. But now, this same person who inspired me to travel, wait to get married, etc., is asking when I'm going to grow up and buy the house with a white picket fence to pop out a few kids. It's incredible. She turned into the very person she advocated against.